It's the Daily Dog.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for hanging out with me today for what I think is going to be a very interesting and unique listening experience. I'm really excited about today's, can't wait. It's a relatively short song, but I think we're going to be jam-packed full of awesome playing. So a little over a month ago, I did a reaction to a song by Steve Vai called "For the Love of God," and it was requested by several folks here on YouTube. And I chose a version of it that was live with an orchestra, and it was wonderful. I very much enjoyed it, and a lot of folks said you really have to listen to the studio recording on this, and I did, and y'all. The studio recording blew me away. I mean, I liked the live recording. The studio recording is much better. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And it made me want to include more of Steve's music here on the channel and listen to more of what he is about. So several folks had said, you got to check out Knappsack. I'm like, well, that's an interesting sounding name for a song. So I went last week to Steve's YouTube channel, and Knappsack was the very first video listed on the channel, and he has a bunch of write-up about it here in the song description. I'm going to refer to a little bit of it here. So he just in the last several months hurt his shoulder, had a pretty big time, looks like, shoulder injury, and has had surgery on that. So he was given a sling to immobilize his shoulder and his right arm, and his doctor was named Dr. Knapp, and the sling is named Knappsack. And so he's got his knapsack on, and about the same time he also had carpal tunnel problems with his left hand and had hand surgery. So he's sitting at home and he's recuperating from hand surgery and shoulder surgery, and wants to play a little bit if he can, and comes up writing this piece for one-handed guitar. That's something that I don't think I've seen, and quite frankly, I don't even know how it works. I'm sure you can play electric guitar with one hand, but anyway, we'll figure it out, or we'll watch. But the thing about this that I find as a composer most interesting is that he says this. He says, this piece of music was written in a stream of consciousness type approach. The idea hit me and I knew I could do it. The guitar part was written and recorded and filmed first to a click track, and then he builds the melody and the chord structures, jots them down. He did about 4 or 5 takes. When he finished, he had the guitar part on a click and set out to add in all of the other instruments. So what we're going to hear is going to have other instruments added in, I think, from his home studio that he has put in after the fact. You know, so this verifies to me that the folks that are really wonderful guitar players are based as a guitar player from a composition standpoint tend to write riff-based and for the guitar idiomatically, in a different way that somebody like me, who hasn't had as much exposure to virtuosic guitar playing and writing for the guitar, might approach a song. I would approach it harmonically, formally, all that sort of stuff first, along with melodic ideas, and then craft it from there. He's playing a stream of consciousness track, figuring out how the chords work, and then adding all that in later. It's a completely different process, but it's fascinating, you know, from what I do, but it's fascinating to me. So I can't wait to listen to this. Like I said, it's about 5 minutes and 27 seconds, and I'm gonna try to keep up. Y'all ready? Here we go. Knappsack by Steve Vai. Here we go. Okay, that sounds like he's just kind of grooving an A. B flat, another A. Interesting. D flat, down to G, up to A flat, so down to F. That's a really unique chord progression, but it's all close together, so it might work for where his hand has to move. A flat, down to G, down to E, E major 7. So formally, I would call this a second motive or a second theme. He's down in E, where he was in A. Okay, down a third to C. Down another third to A. It's hard to, I'm just listening for the bass. F, down to F, down by thirds. Down another third. D. Oh. Down another third. To B. Okay. Where are we at? 230 something. Okay. I need to run it back to about, I think right in there. If I'm right, this is a really interesting sequence, a descending third sequence. He's moving these chords down by a third in this section. This sounds really cool. I backed it up to about the 1:40 mark. So he's grooving in E. I'm listening for the bass. Bass goes down to C. So for an E for the C, down to A. Down to F. F major 7. Down to D. Down to B. And then I think for a split second, down to G. And then he's got some crazy shit. That's a technical term, y'all. Amazing, amazing playing. Without his right hand picking along, that sounds a little bit like a theremin almost, with that wide vibrato. A little sequence. Chromatic half steps. He's just hanging out having a good time. I'm mesmerized by this, y'all. Cool. Okay. Oh, this is cool. Okay. 4 minutes and 20 seconds. We're stopped at 420, y'all. So what was I going to say? Form. This strikes me as very smart, but also very applicable to someone with Steve's unbelievable virtuosity and experience playing his own music and experience playing classical charts arranged for the guitar, right? He's like the Paganini of the guitar, right? Paganini was this classic violin player who would write pieces for himself to show off his own virtuosic skills on his instrument. We've had lots of virtuosic players who write their own repertoire for themselves to play. But Steve has played a lot of classical pieces. I am sure of it. So from a formal standpoint, we think of form as a way to organize ideas, right? So he starts off at the beginning, and I kind of had this idea that he's an A for a while. And then there's a contrasting section where he's an E for a while. And then that contrasting section in E is where that big sequence was. And then he goes into some things that I technically called crazy shit. Where it's almost like a development of the elements that have come before it. He's playing off of that, and it's twisting and turning and going in all different directions. That is similar to the way classical composers tend to build formally sonata movements, sonata form. You have an opening section and that's one theme, you have a contrasting thing, and then you develop those themes. And then at the very end is when you bring back some of those original themes. And that's what I was hearing here. He's bringing back this original chord progression in A, just in a completely different way. And I am here for it all day. It's really wonderful. I love being able to figure that stuff out. I want to go back to where he was kind of, where can I find that? Dun, 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 dun. I'm just going to go back into here. It's a short enough song, we can listen to parts of it twice. So this would be like developmental. He's doing some sequences back and forth. He's moving around chromatically, all that sort of stuff in this section. I really can't tell what all these chords are. It's not really the point. But it's building to something, and then all that stops, and here's this cadenza, like a classical cadenza, and the cadenza stops, right? And then it's the return of what in classical circles we would call the recapitulation of the original theme, just altered. The chords are the same, just slower and more melancholy. Wonderfully constructed piece. The fact that he off the top of his head, recorded this to a click and then added everything in later, makes me want to find a different career. It's amazing. Not to mention that he's playing it all with one hand. And there's that same resolution to E that he did before. Sorry, Steve. I feel your pain. Getting old sucks. Wow. That was, I think, well worth our time and a worthy inclusion on the channel, don't you think? Holy crap. First of all, Steve, I hope you feel better. I hope that you're back to playing full strength and just kicking ass as soon as possible. Thanks for putting this out on your channel for all of us to enjoy and listen to. Wonderful stuff. Kudos. If I was analyzing that for form, that's a different style of listening. You could try to listen to all of the different key areas and some of like the chord progressions, but you can also listen formally. So what I heard there was a theme in a theme in E with a big descending third sequence in it, a series of like development on those themes with a little cadenza, and then a return to the A section in a slower manner, and then it ends on that big E chord right before he would have gone into that second section again. So it's like, I don't know what you would call it. It's not really long enough to be a sonata form, but I think that's the way that you can kind of piece these ideas together. And like I said, the fact that he came up with it as a stream of consciousness is beyond impressive. Wow. Listening to this really virtuosic stuff like this in this manner just makes my ears red. Woo, takes a lot of energy, but it's so just vitalizing. It just kind of fills you with a lot of energy. So I'm really thankful for this piece, and hope that Steve gets back to normal soon. And wow, wonderful stuff. We got more great tunes coming up tomorrow and the rest of the week, so keep tuning in to the Daily Doug, and until next time, we'll see you on the next time of the Daily Doug.